Hello, my name is Ariel, like the mermaid, and in this video I'm going to talk about having doubts and being uncertain about your gender identity. And I just want to say that it's okay to be uncertain about your gender. I think a lot of times people like to make things very black and white about gender and about the experience of being trans. I think that even some trans people like to make it out like that it's like, oh, ever since I was 5 years old, I was completely certain that I was really a girl, or I was really a boy, or whatever. But the fact is, that's the experience of some people, but that's not the experience of all trans people. A lot of trans people aren't really, maybe in childhood they don't necessarily have as much dysphoria or whatever, especially for non-binary people, it's very confusing, because when you're young, you're not told. I mean, if you really feel like the opposite of your assigned gender, you have another gender to kind of reference on, and you can kind of that's helpful so that you can actually kind of figure out, oh, I feel like that. If you don't feel like either gender, though, there's really nothing you can really go to. And different people, I didn't really show much signs of being, I don't think that anyone would have, who knew me in my childhood would have thought, oh yeah, that kid's going to be trans. No, I don't think anyone would have said that about me, certainly not my parents, and they never will, even if they, accept me being trans a little bit more than they do now. They're never going to say, oh, I knew when you were a 5-year-old that you were going to be this way. No, they're never going to do that. They're never going to say that because it's probably not true. There's just in general a lot of misconceptions that it's always so black and white and it's always so obvious. And I think a lot of it comes from how people try to really justify their identity. Like they go like, well, I did this and I was, a lot of times it's less obvious, it's a little bit more ambiguous. And a lot of times when you're just trying to figure out your gender identity, you can have a lot of doubts and you can be uncertain about a lot of things. And sometimes it's confused. Sometimes, one day you feel, oh, I'm definitely, this gender. And sometimes you're a little bit more in between. You're like, I don't really know. Sometimes, who knows? Sometimes maybe you actually feel comfortable in your assigned gender. And that's okay. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to not know what you want, to not know who you are. That's okay. Sometimes you'll always have a little bit of uncertainty, and I think it's also very understandable, even if you are quite certain that you're a certain gender, or that you're non-binary, or whatever, there always might be doubts, and I don't think that should make you think that your gender is less legitimate. It's understandable you're going to feel doubts because society is telling you, oh no, you should just be your assigned gender. People, like constantly society is always going to be saying that, and there's going to be, there's always going to be horrible people that, will make you question who you are. It's okay to feel doubts. It's okay to be uncertain about your gender. You can try to figure it out, and it's sometimes it's hard because there's no, a lot of times, some people, it'd be nice if there's an easy way to just figure out, oh, you're, this gender, you're this gender, you're this gender. Some people like to try to do that. Some people like to try to use hormones, or try to, there's always I've seen I had a video earlier ranting on about how I really dislike this, but there's been quizzes online. It'll be like, do you have a male brain or a female brain, and things like that. People like to try to figure out how to define gender now that we're not just doing it based on genitals. But the truth is, none of these are really going to be consistently tell us what's best for a person, how they should identify. And really, at the end of the day, gender is just a social construct. It's not something that can be easily defined. So, you know, there's always a possibility that you'll be uncertain, and it's obviously fine also if you're totally not uncertain, if you're totally certain with your gender, that's great. But I think it's important to remember that it's okay if you're not certain about your gender, and for trans people who are very certain about their gender, don't tell other people that you know, don't contribute to this this myth that it's always so obvious and it's always so certain, or that it's like always present in your childhood, or that things like that. You know, don't just, you know, if someone, I mean, if you don't think someone's trans, that's nobody, you know, just, don't legitimize their gender just because, you know, you have doubts about them. I mean, just trust that they'll figure it out if they, and, you know, who are you to say what their gender is? So, yeah.